Hi, I'm Katie, and this is Monumental, a small show about the big things God does in the lives of ordinary people. Today, Amy and I interview the wife of Warhorn Media's very own Jake Menzel. Amanda shares about her difficult years in early motherhood, the pains of sacrifice, and God's sanctifying work in her life through it all.
So I was 19 when we got married. I had just finished my freshman year of college. We found out we were pregnant like 6 weeks after we got married. And then that fall, Jake was starting at the pastor's college. And we were also in the very baby stages of starting a college ministry. And that grew.
That didn't exist before, right?
Not really. We were starting a college ministry with a bigger focus on campus at IU. It was a new thing. Starting a new thing.
Marriage, college ministry.
Pastor's college.
Pastor's college and a baby, literally.
And also he was painting in Indianapolis or the surrounding areas. But he worked like 12-hour days, 60, 70 hours a week. And I was sick and alone for those early months. And then I had a newborn in March of the next year, 2008.
You were 20 by then, though, right?
I was 20. Just not a teen mother. He was still working. He was still painting while he was in the pastor's college, not as much because he had to have time to study, but it was still a whole lot. College ministry wasn't fully ramped up yet. That came more over the next year. But anyway, still alone with the baby. I didn't realize at the time that I was dealing with a lot of postpartum depression. I didn't realize that for years.
Yeah.
Which caused a lot of trouble for me in momming a little baby, and it would have been nice to know.
Yeah.
I remember another mom had a baby just a couple weeks after Peter was born, and she posted a status on Facebook that said, "Loving this new life." And I just cried. I was just so sad because I was just not loving it. And I loved part of it, but I would see people and think they get to go home and do whatever they want. And when they go to sleep, they won't have somebody waking them up in 2 hours or one or less. It was rough. And we had nursing issues, and that was a big contributor, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Backing up even more, I was induced.
Oh, man.
And I was 2 weeks late, and I was induced, and it was just not how I wanted it to go. And my expectations, were dashed. And I had an epidural, so I was doing it all wrong. I was open, but
still, no matter how open you are, you always have these expectations.
Yes. Yeah.
And they affect how you feel during and after.
Absolutely.
And
So my beginning motherhood was rough, to say the least. And with Jake being so busy.
Yeah.
And we didn't have family in town. I didn't have very many close friends at the time either. I just felt very alone. We had a rough start. Baby Peter, baby college ministry. In the pastor's college. The college ministry was really fun. It was really exciting. But it was really hard.
Yeah.
Because we were it.
Yeah. And
once that got going, I had written down, I wonder if I still have it, but what our weekly schedule looked like.
Oh, man.
Maybe this is a bad thing. But something in me wanted to remember it in the future. But I think it was like every night there was something.
Oh,
wow.
Because the off nights when there wasn't a college event.
Yeah.
Where Jake was preaching on campus or where there was Bible study or I was at Bible study teaching or something.
Yeah.
And he was probably doing something else. And Peter was being watched by somebody in the church, another pastor's wife. Jake was painting.
Right.
So, and sometimes he would paint all night.
Yep.
And then come home in the morning. So it was a crazy
rough.
life. We were like ships
Passing
in the night.
So you were pretty involved in the college ministry.
Yeah.
Leading girls' Bible studies and meeting with girls and that kind of thing.
Yes. And actually, when I was leading, when Peter was a baby, and then I got pregnant with Lucy, and all the girls had Bible study in the waiting room of the hospital. And after Lucy was born, it was just so sweet. There's a picture, and there was probably like 20 of them at the time. Wow. And they would come in 2 by 2 to see me, and I was,
You're in labor.
Well, Lucy had been born by then.
Oh, okay.
She was born at like 4, and this was like 8 at night.
Okay.
But and I was getting so tired by the end of it. But anyway, it was a really sweet and fun time. And then I had more kids, and I wasn't able to do much. So I did feel disconnected with Jake's work.
Yeah.
When we were doing it together, we were together, I was a part of the team, and I was an active member of
Something
the team.
you were sharing with
Yeah, and we were able to have college kids in our home from time to time, and I was still able to go to some of the events and do a lot of that, as my kids were getting a little bit bigger, and we had kids quickly.
More, yeah.
Peter was not yet 2 when Lucy was born, and then Lucy was not yet 2 when Ian was born. As these babies were coming, when they were born in those early stages, I felt, yes, this is just confirmation. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is my work. It's just more of the same, and this is good.
Yeah.
And that was sweet.
Yeah.
And at the same time, yes, I'm being pulled away from
More work, partnering, or just helping.
And it wasn't as if
Jake.
the college ministry was more important work that I should be doing, or
Right.
could be doing necessarily. I did mourn that loss of being able to be in Bible study and to lead Bible study and to be on campus when Jake was preaching and to be there. But
it was more of a wanting to connect with your husband and the work he was doing and not having that.
yeah, that was a huge part of it, is feeling like this is your work now.
Yeah.
And this is my work. And we are disconnected. And because it was so demanding on his time, and so many evenings that we were at home alone. It was just like all on me, and that was so much pressure.
Oh, yeah.
I battled resentment a lot from that. And
Was it with Jake or with God, or just with your own decisions? Both.
Both. And it was never as if Jake was glad he was away.
Sure.
Right.
Right.
He missed being at home with the kids too. But it was just a lot. And people were like, "Are you guys all right? Is it okay?" And we were just in survival mode constantly for those years, because it's just what we had to do. The pastoral work was there, and the college ministry was growing and thriving, and there was real issues with real college kids.
Yeah.
And they needed to be dealt with, and Jake was the one doing it, and he had help. It wasn't like he was just a one-man show.
Right.
He had help, and he was cultivating leaders in the group,
Right.
to grow up and to take over.
But that takes time.
Yeah. And he was still in the
Pastor's college. Still painting and still.
Yes. He did come on staff with the church 4-5 years after we got married. When he was done with the pastor's college, doing college ministry.
So then he was able to quit the painting.
But I'm sure as soon as that, there was a hole, it was quickly filled with more work.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it was like he had 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah.
That he was doing. And
and a family.
Very young family.
Yeah. So you say you struggled a lot with resentment in that time. And that, I'm sure, obviously affected your marriage and your parenting.
Yes. Yes. Period. Affirmative.
Well, how did it?
So some of the hardness in the early years, I think I lacked some bonding with Peter, and so that there wasn't a lot of affection, or maybe not a lot of warm affection. I struggled to like him, and there was one time we were dealing with some discipline with him, and Jake told me, "You need to like him too." I was just like, "Oh, yeah, I know, but and I'm not a very affectionate, emotional person anyway." And I was feeling the sore spot anyway, or already. I was trying, so it wasn't like a blow of shame on me.
You had realized that.
And he wasn't a difficult kid. He was sweet, and he was pretty obedient. It was funny. Yeah. You could just watch him throw a fit on purpose. Just throw down his cup. Let me try this.
Let me try this out. See what Mom will do.
Yeah. And he learned quick. Okay, that's not a good idea. And then moving on, Lucy was very difficult as a toddler. Lucy in her toddler years was a very a hard child, defiant, very difficult to discipline. And I just got to the point where it was like not working for me, not working. Battling a 18-month-old, 2-month-old, and thinking, oh my goodness, if it's like this now, what are we in for? This is terrible. We shouldn't have any more children. Or, this discipline thing is not working. We're doing it wrong.
Something wrong, yeah. So when did you then start feeling like the full transition? Because it's kind of trickled from you were full on involved and you're starting to take the kids some things and just gradually pulling out. When was the okay, I just am not going to be able to really just adjust of expectation. Like I can't go every night and I'm just not going to be there.
When Ian was coming, when he was born. Yeah. Mm-hmm. For a while I taught Bible study, and Peter and Lucy were babysat on Wednesday nights when I would go and teach. I wasn't going on campus then. I think I had stopped that because it was too hard to find a babysitter 2 nights in a row, and we didn't pay these ladies to watch our kids. They just did it in service to us and the college ministry. We were also really poor during all this. Another strain.
No.
Dealing with little children, hard discipline stuff, another baby coming. And Ian was our happiest baby. It was the sweetest. And it was just like another confirmation that, wow, this is so good. Ian is just so sweet. And after dealing with Lucy and just being really discouraged about the landscape of our parenting and our children, and we didn't have difficult babies, really. Yeah. But it's just hard. It's just hard, no matter what you're dealing with. Basically, when Ian was born, I was out of it. Yeah. I was done. I wasn't going to anything. I wasn't teaching Bible study, and I could see it coming. It wasn't as if I was blindsided, and I was sad. And we tried to find ways to keep me involved, and some of it I was okay with, and then some of it was, okay, that's your life, and this is mine.
Did you always want to be involved?
So since I was, not exactly a young believer, but when I was in high school, and even before I could drive, I was involved with leading other girls in Bible study. It's just been something that I've always done. Yeah. I've always had a passion to do that and to teach other women. And I think God has gifted me to do that. So it was natural for me to do that in the college ministry. And I was one of the only women around, and I was married to Jake. And so here I am.
It made sense. Yeah.
Work. And so, it was sad to lose that. And
so you kind of knew it from the beginning. That's what you wanted to do, and that's where you wanted to contribute.
It was just it was a good fit. It's what I've been doing. I want to get better at doing this, and this is how I can do it. Right. But my mind was still going. Yeah. And I wanted to do these things, and I just had to tell myself to stop it at some point, because I was fighting in my mind with, how do I spend my extra time? How do I spend my nap time or my evenings at home? Do I clean my house? Do I hang out with other moms? Do I do something at church or help contribute to a ministry at church or whatever? And
it's difficult when it's all good, healthy things. And so then it's...
So I was battling a lot of that. And I had to tell myself, okay, you just got to put this on hold. You got to stop thinking this way. I still was active at church. I still did stuff. I was at Bible study.
So you got to a point where you realized, like, okay, they're all good things, but I got to prioritize, and I got to figure out what's got to come first, what can come second, and then just put it in an order to make your life seem a little less chaotic or whatever.
And it's one thing to make a mental decision. Okay, it's my kids and this one Bible study, and that's it. And then there's the emotional, spiritual battle of actually letting go.
Yeah.
So you would say having your third kid was what was...
solidified me in the mom role. This is my job.
Ian made it sweet, so...
It was very sweet.
Thanks, Ian.
Yeah. I was recognizing things in myself that God had put there, the good things. And at the same time thinking, okay, just for my own heart and for the health of our home. Yeah. And it was just like small things. You know, I wasn't going to go blog every day or be a contributor for a magazine or whatever.
Right.
But it was just things going on in my mind, just starting. And I turned it off.
Yeah.
I just had to turn it off. Just a way of thinking. And I've gone back and forth. You know, there's been like years where it'll come back and I start to get in this. And it just makes me antsy. It makes me anxious. Yeah. And I start to realize again, I'm starting to put too much, you know, in this other basket that doesn't exactly exist or, you know, isn't a thing.
I want to do this and this and this. And so then you just start looking for ways that you can do it, but all the other things are still there.
I've got this really big thing. I've got these people.
I've got
my husband, and he's got a ministry, and he needs me, and I'm dividing my attention.
So would you say that that's when you dealt with more bitterness, or was it pretty... Okay.
Both. Yeah.
How does that work?
Basically, just like a back and forth battle. I mean, it could be from day to day or from hour to hour. And why is he gone every night? How come I can't be there? How come there aren't people here to help us? My life is really hard. We're doing this good thing. How come nobody is helping us? How come nobody is helping me? And just the normal mom things, being at home all day long, being with whiny kids, not feeling like I was doing a good thing.
Or enough important things.
When Peter was a baby, I remember telling myself, okay, I've got to find some value in this. What is the value of changing his diaper and feeding him? And can't somebody else do that? And I knew this is a good thing. Caring for a life is worth it, no matter what you're doing or what they're doing. And God sees that as valuable. But I thought to myself, okay, someday this will add up, and he will be a grown up, and he will be, you know, what I do now matters, and my attitude towards him and my cheerfulness in this work, though it's really small and dumb feeling, this is worth it. Okay. To will myself along, and it's hard. And I remember walking through the little hallway in our apartment, and I did this time and time again, but for some reason, a hallway moment stays in my brain. But just reminding myself, I need thee every hour. And from time to time, I should have done it all day long, but from time to time, that was my thing. It's like my mantra. I need thee every hour. Every hour, I need thee. Because it was such a battle. And looking back at it now, it was like the dark ages of motherhood with these little children. And after Ian came Abe, and he came faster than the ones before. And then I had another one, and we were moving. And then I had another one and another one. And my second half of kids are all closer together than my first.
You thought it was bad then. I'll show you how much you need me, Amanda.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. At some point I realized, you know, God keeps giving me children because I'm not dead yet. You know? My inner man is not dead yet. I still need this refining. I'm still holding on, white knuckling my independence or whatever, what little you can have of it when you have babies.
He wants to bring me to that place where I'm completely dependent on him.
Yes, absolutely. If I would just forsake myself and my own desires, and even my desire to have a husband at home all the time, or to have a husband with a regular job. Another older mom told me she had a husband that was gone a lot too, and she said, for herself, she would say, if I needed a husband at home with regular hours, God would have given me one. And I was just like, but I need one.
But I do need one.
I do. No, God doesn't understand. I do need one, God. And even and with motherhood, you know, another mom had said, when you have a few and they start growing up, it'll get easier. When you have that fourth one. No. And there was, you know, I as each baby was coming, God was affirming, this is what you're doing. This is good work. And this is what I've given you to do. Even though it is insanely hard. And I am battling sin in myself and in my children, and difficulty in our marriage, and difficulty in life with family and ministry. There was just a lot of heaviness. I can't do this. I'm not cut out for this. Why are you giving me more kids when I am like this, when I am this angry mother? God, this is, I never maybe acknowledged to myself I was blaming God, but that meant I never faced it in my heart. I never actually copped to that.
Yeah.
And so it lingered. I didn't have the chance to repent if I was acknowledging and confessing my sin.
Yeah.
So now, looking back, as my kids are just a little bit older, and I still have, I have 7 of them.
You still have a baby.
Yeah. He's almost 2, but
yeah.
I'm tempted to have a lot of regret and guilt and shame over my sin and over just my motherhood as with my little babies, and feeling it as a drudge, or that I was wasting my time, or that I didn't do motherhood well. I wasn't happy. And it wasn't all doom and gloom. As we went on, I said, God was confirming in me, this is my job, this is my work, and this is good work to do. And the kids were wonderful. They're happy, they're sweet, but it was hard. It was just hard. But it doesn't mean that it wasn't
good
worth it.
Or worth it, yeah.
So what brought you to the point where you did start recognizing that sin, that anger towards God, and confessing and bringing about that changed perspective of mothering?
Well, when I realized I was an angry mom, Peter was a baby. He was like, a week or 2 old. And
does it take long to realize?
You start to see, wow, yikes, God is so patient with us. Yeah. And I am so not. But it just continued from there. It was just a constant battle with heavy life circumstances, with discipline, feeling strapped with lots of little ones. It was just a constant battle to fight against anger and to try to cultivate joy. And I don't feel like I did it well. And I'm still battling anger.
So I was about to say, and you've mastered it now, right?
No, I wish I could. I don't know that I'll ever escape it, but by God's grace. And I feel like, man, I should have gone to God sooner. I should have repented. I was so complacent and comfortable in my sin. God, you've given me these children. You've given me these difficult circumstances. I deserve to be angry. And
anybody else, I think, outside, even Christians, I was going to say outside in the world, but even Christians would say, yeah, you have a right. It's understandable. Yeah. It's understandable that you're feeling that way.
Well, and sin's tricky enough like that. It's so easy to justify our sin when we're angry about something, and we can see what we're angry about, and it's very easy to quickly get yourself to going, I have a right to be angry.
Yeah.
And when you walk in that for so long, then there's fear of being out of that.
Yeah.
What does life by faith actually look like?
Yeah.
And I'm not like a happy, picturesque stay-at-home mom, Christian mom who's always smiling and loving her job and as a mother, and that's not really my personality. So what does faithfulness look like for me?
Yeah.
I don't know, really. So it was just a number of things that stupidly I just sat in my sin a lot. But God is so gracious through those years to give me sweet, happy children that are reasonably obedient. Lucy has turned into a very sweet daughter. Yeah. It's just a grace of God to give that to us. And I don't have an accurate picture of those years, those little years, completely. It's hindsight isn't 2020, and seeing myself accurately and seeing the kids accurately, and but even though there was sin, and even though there was things that I screwed up, God is still working. And I used to wonder, how does anybody survive in marriage? How does anybody survive as a mother if they don't know God?
Yeah.
Why does God give children to people that are so messed up and screwed up? It's because God is bigger than that, and He pulls out sinners to obey Him and to be His faithful followers.
The weak things to
Yes. One of the things when Lucy was born, there was a lot of hardness of heart in my life, and her birth was the same pretty much as Peter's. I went late. I had to be induced. Had an epidural. It was better. It was the second time around. Yeah. But my attitude was totally different. God was just working in me. That's the only thing. God was just working. He was breaking down the hardness. The verse in Romans, the kindness of the Lord brings you to repentance. Yeah. And that's just what it was.
Yeah.
And I wasn't dealing with huge sins, but it was sin, and my heart was hard towards God. It's my first year and a half of motherhood, and it was just little markers along the way of God's faithfulness and my motherhood. You get to 10 years out, it feels like, wow, that was a whole decade of motherhood. Something I really don't feel good about. But what am I supposed to do? I'm thankful that God has been teaching me to be humble and teaching me to repent quickly and to recognize my sin and recognize my willful blindness and my stubbornness against repentance and against confession. And
it's hard work.
Yeah, it's really hard work. And it doesn't go away. You know, the children are there. You are still there. And for a while, God's mercies are new every morning. For a while, I was like, no, I don't see that. Nope. But here again, I was just like, no, God, you have to totally change my circumstances.
For it to be
for me to be better.
Yeah.
Or for my attitude to change. But
you mentioned earlier cultivating joy. What are some ways that you try to cultivate joy?
I try not to. I'm learning. I try not to take myself so seriously. Jake would tell me that sometimes. Just, you could use not taking yourself so seriously. Maybe. Oh, come on. This is not fun. I am cleaning up all this mess, and this is hard. This is not fun. I can't have a sense of humor about this. There is something to acknowledging the hard, but just being like, okay.
Yeah.
Seeing the humor in it. And just realizing, okay, Amanda, it's really, come on. It's really not that bad. You can rise above this and not sink to the level of there's a whole box of Cheerios on the floor right now. Or, whatever. Being willing to not live in the drudge. And being who my kids need me to be. That could be a really heavy thing that's like, that can just pour more guilt on you. Or my kids need a joyful mother. What do I want my kids to think about me as whenever they were little? Somebody who is, didn't laugh at their jokes or wasn't happy to receive flowers from them. When I would tell them, please just leave the flower on the plant. There's not very many. Could you just leave it out there? Just leave it. I want it to be pretty outside. Yeah, no, my kids, I want my kids to have a good, a happy mother.
Yeah.
Okay, there's some motivation there. It's a hard line. You think about the things that you want to be and the things that you want to do. It could be as little as reading your kids Bible stories on the regular. And you could feel a lot of shame about not doing that. Or you could just, all right, we're going to do that right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try to put a smile on. Okay, here we go. This is what faith is. It's just doing it.
Yeah.
Seeing, okay, God, I don't want to do this. It's not in me to do this.
Yeah.
But you've given it to me to do. By grace, you've given me the ability to respond.
I need to be able to do it. Yeah.
To be cheerful. And if you build those things, it'll get easier to walk in those things. So it wasn't as if things slowed down for us. Circumstances didn't change.
Yeah.
we haven't had a lot of time. We don't have regular date nights. It's like a cardinal thing that we don't do. But we are good friends. We watch basketball together, and we watch sports. I really like watching sports, maybe even more than Jake does.
This is not just something you're doing for him.
I really do.
You really enjoy it.
And that's a really sweet bond that we have that it's not a lot.
Not common, at least. Yeah.
A lot of couples don't have sports as a bond.
No.
But it's really good because my kids play sports, and I'm like the sports mom.
Yeah.
That's what I am. That's what I do. But I don't know. It's not like, we've arrived in any way with parenting or with marriage, just being able to see and to have hope. Mm-hmm. Give yourself to motherhood. Be the mom, and don't hold back. Just laugh and enjoy it. People say this to you in the grocery store. Enjoy it now, honey.
Yeah,
because they're gonna be good. And you're like, I'm not going to look back on the fit throwing in the grocery aisle fondly. Yeah, this is not what I want to remember.
Yeah,
and that's fine. Yeah. There's room for that. Forget those things.
Yeah,
it's okay to not like that. But there is so much to enjoy about children. Yeah, if you just see it.
Monumental is hosted by Katie Walker and Amy Molina. It's produced and edited by Katie Walker, and it is executive produced by Nathan Alberson and Jake Menzel. If you like the show, please don't forget to rate and review in the app of your choice. And if you're interested in more great content, including articles and other podcasts, please visit warhornmedia.com.